LinkedIn doesn't work. LinkedIn is a dead platform. LinkedIn is a waste of time. I'm sorry, all I'm hearing is that you're doing it wrong. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and I help freelancers grow their businesses. My students in Revenue Spark and I use LinkedIn on a regular basis to source leads, land clients, grow our platforms, and help establish our expertise. My goal in this video is to give you tips that I've never talked about before regarding growing your engagement on LinkedIn. So we're talking about likes, comments, and shares. And when there are related videos that I think you might find helpful, I will drop those links in the description below. All right, so let's get into it. Tip number 1, comment on your own posts. And before you come yelling at me about spam, don't. The way the LinkedIn algorithms work is the more engagement you get, the more they push your content out to people. The more they push your content out to people, the more engagement you get. And it's this cycle, and you go round and round and round. Side note, if you want to learn more about LinkedIn's algorithm, go watch this video. The audio is terrible, but it's good stuff. What I used to do, I don't need to anymore, but what I used to do is I would go back through old posts that were at least a few days old, and I was looking specifically for anything that didn't have any comments at all. And I would comment on it by adding something of value, of substance. Here's an example. Let's say I had posted a tip on cold emailing talking about how important your subject line is, and after 3 days, nobody had commented on it. So in this example, what I would have done was I would have gone back after a few days and I would have commented, and maybe I would have said something like, here's a subject line that you can test out for yourself. And I would put the subject line in the comment. I ran this little experiment for quite a long time, and sure enough, not always, but very often after I did that, I would see a few more likes and other comments trickle in. Can I prove it? Can I prove cause and effect? No. Was there a pattern that I definitely found? Yes. 2 words of warning that I want to give you here. First of all, only do this on each post one time. Otherwise, you're going to have 40 comments on a post and they're all going to be from you. And it just looks ridiculous. Plus, LinkedIn is going to see it and they're not going to like it. More isn't always better, and spamming your own post is right up there with engagement pods, which I have a whole video on, so I will put that link below. And number 2, I'm going to repeat this, add value to your own post. If you comment on your own post with one word, like nice, don't. This will ideally be temporary because you want to get to the point where all of your posts are getting at least one comment on them. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. Tip number 2, get opinionated. I wish I could remember who told me this because I've never forgotten it, but someone told me one time that the quickest way to make enemies is to have an opinion, which just like, it's so true. So for the longest time, I avoided expressing opinions about anything. Then I slowly started doing it here and there, and sure enough, the trolls started to come out of the woodwork, and I was like, this is why you don't express an opinion. I'm sorry, what? We are human, we have feelings, and thus we have opinions. That's okay. These days, I very carefully and gently express opinions about things that some people might find controversial. For example, every now and then you might see me online talking about how I think college is a scam, which I do. Every now and then I talk about how I believe corporate America is designed to keep the average person down. These are things that I'm really passionate about. Does everybody agree with me? No, but that's okay. They don't need to. But here's the thing. A little bit of controversy in your LinkedIn post, and I do mean a little bit, like this much, it can be a really good thing. Here's another example. I post a lot about how much I dislike job boards and bidding sites and marketplaces for freelancers. And I always make sure to point out that I like the idea of them, I like the concept, but the execution is horrendously flawed and works against the freelancer. And on those posts, on those LinkedIn posts, the majority of the comments are from professionals who are like, oh my God, yeah, that was my experience for sure. But then of course I get the odd unicorn here and there chiming in to disagree because they happen to be one of the few people on this planet who have had a positive experience with job boards and bidding sites. That's okay. I don't argue with these people. Why would I? That was their experience. So it's not a matter of disagreeing. I can't be like, no, you're wrong. You didn't experience that. So instead, what I tell them is, I'm happy for you. And I wish more people experienced what you experienced. That way, I'm acknowledging them and I'm acknowledging that I believe them because, again, that was their experience, but I'm still standing my ground, which is, I think job boards and bidding sites suck. See, it's okay to disagree. Don't be afraid to express opinions politely and within reason, and opinions that you can back up. This is going to bring you a lot of engagement, and you're also going to have really cool, valuable conversations with people. Always be open to listening, especially when it's an opinion that's different from your own. One word of warning here, be careful just how controversial you get, because I maintain that some things just don't belong on LinkedIn. When we're talking about a social networking platform for professionals. So you don't frequently hear me diving into politics or very politically charged topics. Of course, I have my own opinions, but this isn't stuff that really has anything to do with my business. It doesn't contribute to my business. And also, I just prefer not to spend my energy arguing with strangers on the internet. Nobody wins. And lastly, on the topic of controversy, name calling, hateful words, they have no place on LinkedIn or anywhere else for that matter. We can all express our opinions without being buttheads. Tip number 3, send invites out to people in your field. In this video, I talk about how my students and I use LinkedIn to source B2B leads. And part of this process entails reaching out to people who work in your department. Your department. For example, I'm a writer and I have a content agency. So when I'm sourcing leads on LinkedIn and I'm sending invites, I am looking at these people's individual titles, and I'm looking for titles like SEO manager, director of content, editor, stuff like that. I am looking for people who somehow, in some capacity, work with the blog, because that is what is related to the service I provide. I'm a writer. Those are the people I send invites to. I also send invites to other writers. As you're doing this, over time, you're telling LinkedIn more about what type of professional you are and what type of people you want in your network. So LinkedIn is gradually going to help you meet more of the right people. Now, I want to be super clear here. If here and there you are sending or accepting invites from people in totally unrelated fields, that's okay. You don't need to stop that. But here's the problem that I notice. A lot of people are obsessed with increasing their number of connections, and this is really just a vanity metric, okay? That number in and of itself doesn't mean anything. So they'll just send out 100 invites a week like this. That's how many invites you can send out currently per week, and they're not really paying attention to who they're reaching out to. This doesn't do anything except confuse the algorithm, okay? You want to be intentional with who you're sending invites to. Get specific and be very mindful of this. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect. That wouldn't make much sense. We're humans. We connect with all sorts of people throughout our careers. Just don't send invites en masse without any regard to who you're sending them to. One of the things that I like to remind my students in Revenue Spark of, and most of them are freelancers, is that we don't use LinkedIn to sell, okay? You don't spend an hour on LinkedIn, send 20 invites, and then make money. It's not that simple or straightforward. Rather, we use LinkedIn for 2 main purposes. The first purpose is to position ourselves as experts, and the second purpose is to source leads, send them invites to connect, and send them DMs so that you can start a conversation about working together. I have a couple of videos on using LinkedIn messages specifically to connect with clients, so I will put both of those links in the description below. Don't look at landing clients as a freelancer as this is what I put in and this is what I got out, because the relationship isn't always that direct. Rather, you want to remember to look at it as, I'm going to connect with the right people and go on this journey with them where the final destination is us partnering together. If you want to learn how to land clients as a freelancer, then I want to help you. In my program, Revenue Spark, you get my full process for landing clients from start to finish and additional support in the form of our private Facebook group and then one-on-one coaching with me. Every week we are celebrating really exciting wins, like one of my students who recently landed her first client, an agency. And this student who's connecting with loads of leads and booking calls. And she said, I guess I can safely say that the system is working. Yay. If you're interested in joining the group, then I would love to talk to you. So I am dropping the link below where you can book a call to speak with me more. If you made it this far, it's because you found this video helpful, and I would be very grateful if you could support my channel by giving this video a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, just drop them in a comment. I'll see you next time.